Hello music lovers and welcome back to the Woodshed. All right, so inclement weather and winter time is a great time to get those chops in order. We have a big gig coming up called Shipwrecked, which is basically a music festival on a cruise ship. And I'm the musical director for the Stowaway sets. Now, if you kept up with me last year, you probably saw one of these sets with us doing one by Metallica with Randy Blythe, Lamb of God, and Dave Ellefson on the bass from Megadeth. And they basically are like rock and roll supergroups for every song, right? So my trusted cohorts, Andy Campbell and Ben Eller and myself, we're the ringers for the Stowaways. So our job is to basically just learn every single song that we're going to play. Well, one of the tunes popped up, and it was The Devil Went Down to Georgia. Now, you guys know the Charlie Daniels version, and some of you guys might even cover it in your bar bands and club gigs. There's an alternate version of this tune. It's a bit of a sequel, and it's by Mark Oconnor, and it's called The Devil Came Back to Georgia. Mark Oconnor, if you don't know, is, in my opinion, the greatest violin fiddle player of this generation. He's just like a once-in-a-generation absolute freak show of a musician, and I've studied his music for years, and I love his playing. On his version of Devil Came Back to Georgia, which is basically like like the title says, the devil comes back and re-challenges Johnny to another duel for redemption, and Johnny has to beat him again. Well, Mark Oconnor plays the outro, and it is absurd. So in the regular tempo, Charlie Daniels plays the standard 16th note fair. And once it goes to Mark's key change in E minor, he unleashes this just wicked, like pseudo legato longbow violin thing that ends up into a double shuffle thing. It's just insanity. It's true insanity. Look it up on YouTube if you haven't seen it. Devil Came Back to Georgia by Mark Oconnor. So I wanted to steal some of those lines to put in the Devil Went Down to Georgia version we're going to do on Shipwrecked, but I wanted to alternate pick them. Here's a clip from my Instagram last week with me attempting it at speed. And this was just a practice run, but it's nice because there's no faking it or anything like that. It's all just camera mic audio on the phone, and it's a pretty decent take for a practice run. Let's check it out. Close. Okay, so now I made one of these lessons from a Patreon, but I thought it might be cool just to share it with everyone, kind of give you guys a glimpse into what happens on Patreon. And let's break that down so you guys can check it out. Here's the lesson. So it's out of E minor, which is the number one difference between Charlie's version and Mark's version. Let's go ahead and play it out of E minor. To play it out of D, you'll move it back a whole step. So if we're in E minor, out of D, it would be obviously back. So let's play it out of E minor. So the thing that I think is the most important when taking these fiddle things and putting them onto guitar is trying to figure out where that open string is going to be that a fiddle player may be using or a mandolin player may be using. Let's put it all on one string because, playing it slow, you could jump strings. But that's going to be awful at tempo. So let's put it all on one string. That way we can get the right hand. Here's just some metronome. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's what you're going for. Going for that really crispy, clear, downbeat kind of thing. So the fingering is actually fairly simple. We're starting on the minor third. It's in triplets, triplet, triplet, triplet. That's the easy way to remember that thing, right? So minor third out of the pentatonic box. Here's pentatonic. And now here's starting on the minor third up here with the middle finger. I think the fingering is really important here. Insert your own joke. And of course you can use legato. but I wanted to alternate pick it. Now we got to jump to the next section, which puts us down a whole step in D major. So Mark's actually playing. So I'm going to play that B with an open string. This is like another moment where I mutate things to fit the guitar that are on the fiddle, right? So we're going to play the open string with the B. And you can see that's where the cycle will start again for... Okay, so we have part 1, part 2. Part 1 is the E minor. Part 2 is the D major. And that's just straight D major scale. Or you can look at a G major. So let's look at E minor right here, G major. And then we have bouncing. Okay, that's part 1 and 2. Now we're going to look at playing part 1 again, right? So it's like an ABA format. Okay, now we're going to jump to a set of arpeggios that's going to be a bit tricky. And we're going to use open G string to cheat yet again. It would be played with an open D string on the mandolin or the fiddle. But we don't have that, and this one little motion. So we're just gonna cheat and use a G. So we're just gonna move that, and it's like gonna be its own thing just between us kids, right? So this is a set of arpeggios that needed to be mutated a bit because it's trying to copy the way the bow sounds. It's also trying to get through the arpeggio. On the recording, it's beautiful because it's not super edited to death, and you can hear Mark working through the arpeggio. So this is a way to play it on the guitar. I don't think there's right or wrong way to do this. This is the way that I think is the best for the guitar once you get the pick going. We're going to use an open G string instead of a D because we need that pick to be moving. Yeah, I'm fiddle and mandolin, that would just be an open string. So we're just going to play a G instead. It's in key. It will work. It's not the most beautiful thing, but at tempo, it will serve its purpose, right? So that, instead of playing that third here, we're going to play it. So, 1, 2, 3, 4. Again. These are kind of string skipping, jumping between the pedal tone on the A note and every note in the scale. Like that right there. Okay, so we just got through the section that's got the D arpeggio. Now we're going to start into the double shuffle section of it, which that kind of alludes to it. By the double shuffle, it's... So the double shuffle is a weird thing that it's like back and forth, but you end up crossing strings. So every other time I'm switching directions, even though I'm strictly alternate picking, it's like down, up, down for that string. And now it's going to be up, down, 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 up. And that's what this is on guitar. So it's pretty weird, even though you're just playing down, up, down, up, down, up, down, right? So now let's go to this section, which is actually pretty simple. You just get that pedal tone working. So we're going to play through the pentatonic box, minor 3, back and forth to 5 to 1. Now we're going to go down to D. Walk it up the scale. And now we're going to play this shape, which is it's that shape. And it's also the back of that other arpeggio, right? So. All right, so now we're going to get into the octaves. Now it drops down an octave. This is just, you have to have a 24 fret guitar to do this. Shameless plug for buying the Andy Wood model, sir. You'll love it. So, got the 24th fret. And then down to D, flat 7. Do that twice. It's still the same picking motion, still the same alternate picking thing as the double shuffle. Then we drop it an octave. So the last lick is just a barrage in E minor. I don't know if I've got exactly every single note like Mark, but it sounds like he's going down the scale, some sort of variation of it. It goes by ridiculously fast. Obviously, there's no transcriptions of it, and I've not went in with tweezers and slowed it down or put it in any slowing down software. I'm just playing it, learning it from the record. So if you find some kind of discrepancy, let me know. This feels like it works good on guitar. So we have a pedal tone of an E. Down, it's just down the scale. So it seems to go down the scale in E. And end on this last note. It's all in this, like, again, super difficult stuff. I wish you the best of luck. I'm still trying to master it myself, but, you know, I think it's something fun for us all to work on. Cheers. So I actually attempted this probably like 10 years ago, and there is a video on YouTube somewhere of me doing it dimly lit before good cameras were a thing. It was a big discussion on the Petrucci forum back in the day, before Instagram, Facebook, so I guess maybe a little bit longer than 10 years, right? And, you know, me and some buddies were all just looking at this thing and being like, you know, how the heck can it be done? Like, can it, you know, is it one of those things that just can't be done on guitar? And it became an infatuation of mine. So I thought the Shiprocked event would be a great opportunity to steal some of those ideas and implement them and set a real life goal of, like, I'm going to play this live. A couple of things to note: Mark O'Connor's version ends in E minor, like I said, and the Charlie Daniels version is in D minor. The Mark version is a bit faster, makes it even more challenging. The Charlie Daniels version is a little bit slower, but because it's back a whole step, some of those movements and stretches become a little more challenging. Okay, the trick with this is to remain relaxed and comfortable. Again, I try to practice this stuff like at tempo, and then kind of look at it like I'm machining a piece of metal. Like, I don't want to practice it slow because that's 30 BPM from the goal, right? Like, I really want to practice it at tempo and try to get the feeling of what it's going to feel like playing it at that speed, and try to, you know, smooth out any rough edges as I practice it at those speeds. Another thing that's really cool about this is something I've done my whole life, is finding things that don't lay out on guitar and trying to figure out a way to get them to fit onto the instrument. Like, I've for years loved Bela Fleck and Jerry Douglas, and again, Mark Oconnor and Sam Bush, and guys that don't play electric guitar, but I love taking those ideas and putting them on the electric guitar. And, you know, if you guys probably do this maybe with piano or specifically saxophone, like, I think it's a very natural transition from saxophone to guitar as far as it being a single note line kind of instrument. Some things that are really, really fun on mandolin and fiddle because of the tuning, right? The tuning's in fifths. Some things that really kind of lay out nice and easy on those instruments are awful on guitar. So I really love to steal fiddle lines when I can, and mandolin lines, just because they're a little more unexpected, and they kind of, you know, they're a bit of a bedrock to my sound and the formation of my playing is specifically that mandolin kind of background. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you get some good stuff out of this with the alternate picking. Definitely tag me in it if you can play this thing at tempo. It's an absolute monstrosity. Cheers. Little bit of housekeeping here. As always, if you enjoy the channel, like, subscribe, that kind of stuff. But more importantly, if you like what we do and you want to throw some beer money in the tip bucket, head on over to patreon.com/AndyWoodMusic. That's where you can get tons of videos like what you just saw. They're a bit more exclusive type of content. We do a weekly live Zoom masterclass, which is a blast, and people can, just request, hear whatever amps they want, bring topics to the table. It's a couple hours every week that's live, and it's something I can only offer there on Patreon. So patreon.com/AndyWoodMusic. New album's coming out really, really soon. Can't wait to announce it. Stay tuned to AndyWoodMusic.com for the new record. It's going to be outstanding. We mixed it with Jimmy T up in New York at the Dream Theater studio, and there's some very special guest soloists on it. It's just a labor of love, and I can't wait to get it out. All of that is going to be hitting AndyWoodMusic.com. All right, this year at the Woodshed Guitar Experience, we've got alternate picking master and supreme overlord of the guitar, Mr. Steve Morse. Really excited about that. We're over halfway sold out for this year's event. If you want to be a part of Woodshed Guitar Experience, it's a VIP 4-day event, limited to just 100 people. That's the way we can kind of make it special for everyone and give you just an experience that's nothing like anything else out there. So that's the September 7th weekend, and if you want to be a part of that, go ahead and get signed up at woodshedguitarexperience.com. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next time.